At Wind River Resort and Casino, we like to celebrate life's little moments. Oh, and the big ones too, because around here, when you're completely in the moment, that's when the magic happens. Come in and find your moment at Wind River Resort and Casino.
Well, good morning, everyone. I remind you that, of course, we got the Cascade Christmas coming along. And, you know, it's a holiday tradition, excuse me, at the Cascade Theater. There are going to be 6 shows in November, of course, this month. November 21st through the 23rd is that first run. And then another 3 days from November 28th through the 30th. Now, as you may or may not know, these tickets sell out quickly. So if you want a chance to check out the show, maybe you haven't in recent years, but you've heard how great the show is, then I suggest you get online, go to cascadetheater.org, and reserve your tickets today before they get sold out. I mean, all 6 of these shows, they will sell out very quickly. So I highly recommend that you get out there and get yourself going. All right, let's go and take a look at what we got going on here with our headlines. Now, before we get to that, I apologize for getting in late. It's been a very interesting morning for me here this morning. Essentially, first of all, started off, I guess, Spectrum is doing some kind of maintenance, upgrade, whatever they want to call it. I was down for about 15, 20 minutes this morning, at least on whether NorCal's internet service. My internet service at home is still down. So I think business services are still up. But what's weird now is I've got a smart home, and what I mean by that is all my lights are connected to an internet box, and that controls the lights. For some reason, this is the first time this ever happened, the internet's down, and the lights just randomly turn off after about 10, 15 minutes. So I have to keep checking it because my lights for the studio will just turn off randomly. So I've got to keep my eye on the light switch to make sure it's still on. Kind of weird. I know, it's been a weird morning. And then on top of that, there's been some kind of weird connection issues with my software that sends out this stream to all of you on Facebook and on YouTube. And things just weren't working properly to get logged back on. So just a lot of issues with that as well. So I apologize for that. I don't know who to blame other than thank you, Spectrum, once again for, you know, ruining my internet service again. Here's the thing, and some of you have said you need to go to Starlink. I agree. I would love to go to Starlink because everyone talks about how it's reliable, it never goes down, blah, blah, blah. The problem is I need a very fast upload speed and a very fast download speed. And no one tops, at least in my area, no one tops those upload speeds. And that's very important because I upload a lot of long videos and a lot of long content. I've got streaming going on constantly on the 24-hour streaming channel. So I need really good upload speeds. And Spectrum's the only one that offers that. Now, I've looked into getting, what do they call it? It's the latest ingredient. I think it's the not fiber optic, it's something else. But I've looked into that, but it was through AT&T and the prices were astronomical. So that wasn't really an option either. So here we are. All right, enough of that. Let's get to it. Here is your Krueger's Quickcast. Dry and mild start to the week. Cool and wet by mid to late this week. Wednesday night into Thursday looks to be the quote-unquote main event. What I mean by that is that's when I expect the heaviest rainfall, the strongest winds. Gusty winds and snow as low as 5,000 to about 6,000 feet. So there you go. Oh, another thing I wanted to do here while I'm here, let's just go ahead and do it. I'm going to set out a push notification. Why is that not working? Oh, come on. All right, well, oh, that's why. Because I reached the maximum character. That should work. Can I? No. All right, well, I guess not today. It's a Tuesday. I don't know. Things just don't want to work for me. What do you do? This is what I love about what I do. For the most part, like 99.9%, well, no, not even that, 90%, 95% of the time, it's not a problem. Every day, everything's great. Every once in a while, a little something gets thrown in those cogwheels and everything just stops turning. Crazy. Craziness. I'm just going to go ahead and get that out of the way. I can't even log back in now. All right? So it's out of my mind. Out of sight, out of mind, right? Okay. Let's get to it. Focus. Let's talk about the forecast now. So as I mentioned, it's a dry and mild start to the week today. And of course, yesterday we saw that. Tomorrow's the transition day. We're going to start to see, we're already seeing more clouds today, but don't worry, it's not going to rain today if you have outdoor plans. No issues there. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy as well, but the rain's going to hold off until later in the day, probably closer to the evening hours, especially for the valley. Wednesday night into Thursday is the quote-unquote main event. Now, this is when I expect the heaviest rainfall, the strongest winds, and the lowest snow levels as well. Gusty winds, snow as low as 5,000 to 6,000 feet. I bumped up the snow levels a little bit higher because they're now looking like they may not be quite as low as originally thought. All right, let's get into your Krueger's Quickcast. We're going to go right into it. Here's what we got going on for today. This morning, mostly cloudy skies. Temperatures upper 40s to around 50. 30s and 40s for the higher elevations and upper 40s to low 50s for the coast. Now, out the door this morning, here you go. Not too bad, right? Temperatures low 50s for the valley, still upper 30s out in Modoc County. And we're going to be looking at some fog and some patchy dense fog, as a matter of fact. Let's see, this just came out as I just came on here. Dense fog advisory for Del Norte County until 9 a.m. Let's take a look at that camera. Well, no, that doesn't look so bad. Well, there you got some pretty dense fog there. That's in Elk Country north of Trinidad. We'll get to those cameras here in a bit, but there is, Del Norte County has a dense fog advisory. So we probably got some pretty dense fog out there in the area. Oh, here go my lights. So periodically throughout my show, I'm going to have to go and turn on the light switch. Yeah, I know. It's weird. So there's your out-the-door forecast. And as I mentioned, there's that dense fog advisory for Del Norte County. We're going to take a closer look at that here in just a bit. But there you can see the clouds coming in from the southwest. Now, that's actually not what's going to bring us the rain. It's the activity off to the west of us. Do you see that spin in the Gulf of Alaska? Speckled clouds, that line of clouds kind of along that cold front. That's the storm system that'll be impacting us tomorrow, giving us the gusty winds, the rain, and the snow in the mountains. All right, so for today, if you're going to be out and about today, low to mid 70s for the valley. And then it looks like we are going to see temperatures in the 60s for the higher elevations and low to mid 60s for the coast. All right, tonight, and looking at temperatures in the upper 40s, low 50s for the valley, 30s and 40s for the mountains, and low 50s for the coast. All right, here's a look at your 7-day outlook. So, a bit of a mess, right? Here's the bottom line. I think across the board, heaviest is going to be Wednesday night, early Thursday morning. Thursday, a chance for thunderstorms almost across the board. I think mainly just some scattered showers for the eastern mountains in Modoc County, but the valley westward, even into Siskiyou County Thursday, chance for thunderstorms, including the coast. Now, after that, we're going to be in a classic cool and unsettled weather pattern. What does that mean? Well, that means a mixture of sun, clouds, and a chance for a few showers. Now, I think the best chances for any showers after Thursday will be on the coast and some of the inland areas as well. And you'll notice I've got snow levels around 5,500 feet for Trinity County. For Siskiyou County, once again, a chance maybe on Friday. I think everyone's going to see a bit of a break on Saturday with maybe another chance coming in late in the day Sunday, and then drying out again on Monday. All right, now we're going to go ahead and take a look at, is that on? I hope it is. It better be on. Okay. Lake Oroville, North Forebay. It looks like some ducks hanging out in the water there. Beautiful shot. Looking out at Main Street, Chico this morning. Doesn't look like a lot of traffic. I think a lot of people may have the day off of work, although it looks like we still have some traffic this morning on Highway 99 at Neal Road. A little freeze frame there. Take a look at Highway 44, Sundial Bridge Drive. There you can see, of course, a little bit of traffic out there this morning, but yeah, nothing intense, nothing to be terribly concerned about. Okay, let's take a look at Crescent City this morning. Dense fog advisory in Del Norte County. Today's the 11th. Let's take a look at that. Let's see what it has to say. Yeah, dense fog advisory. What visibility? 1/4 mile less of dense fog. Del Norte, northern Humboldt County until 9 a.m. this morning. Well, I don't see a lot of dense fog right now. So we'll see. Now, this is what it looks like in just north of Trinidad in El Country. Jackie Dixon from Trinidad is saying that it's overcast with some fog in Trinidad. So I think we're going to be looking at some patchy, I think we've just got some patchy fog that's kind of worked its way into the coast. You know, and the thing is, a lot of the inland and mountain valleys are going to see some of that fog as well. Like you can see here, Bald Hill West, this is looking down into the Hoopa Valley. Probably seeing some pretty dense fog there. Western Siskiyou County, same thing. As we go into Scott Valley, most likely, you're seeing the fog there as well. Let's take a look at Soda Ridge. You got the overcast skies. Beautiful shot of Mount Shasta there. Take a look at Fort Jones this morning, and there it is. That's that fog I was talking about in Scott Valley. So we do have some dense fog in some of the mountain valleys in western Siskiyou County, in parts of Trinity County, and in Del Norte and Humboldt counties of those mountain and inland valleys as well, and along the coast. So just be aware of that. It burns off pretty quickly, though, as we do go into the morning hours. Take a look at Lassen Park. This is the South Entrance Visitor Center. Beautiful shot there this morning, looking at the clear skies. Well, as you know, Coffee with Krueger is made possible by Wind River Resort and Casino. At Wind River Resort and Casino, enjoy friendly service, a wide variety of specials and promotions, plus all of your favorite slots and table games. All right, here's a look at your Coffee with Krueger headlines. Again, dry and mild start to the week. Cool and wet by the middle and latter part of this week. Wednesday night into Thursday looks to be the main event. We're talking heaviest rainfall, strongest winds, gusty winds and snow as low as about 5,000 to 6,000 feet. At a certain point on Thursday, especially in the morning, we may see it drop down to as low as 4,500 feet, but not for a very long period of time. All right, that is a look at your Krueger's Quick Cast. Hey, what do you say we take a look at our deeper dive forecast? And that is sponsored by Shasta Hearing Aids.
Frank, come help with the dishes.
What?
The dishes!
I heard it the first time. I just got back from Shasta Hearing Aids, but she doesn't know it yet. What?
Forget it.
All right, welcome back. I'm going to have to keep checking the light switch to make sure it doesn't turn off. Once it turns off, I've got a few seconds before the lights start turning off. So just be aware that I may have to interrupt the show to turn the lights on. It's a crazy day here at the Weather Center, I tell you right now. All right, temperatures right now, upper 40s for the valley, around 50 in Willows, 30 degrees out in El Turris, 36. Quite cold off to the north and east, although not as bad for Hayfork and Weaverville, upper 30s to even upper 40s. 55 in Hoopa, 50 in Crescent City and Eureka, about 47 degrees. All right, so the clouds that we're seeing this morning, that's coming in from the south. No rain, though. No rain embedded within these clouds. The rain is here. That's what we've got our eyes on. A couple of things to take note with this storm system as it moves in. This is where the winds are going to be. This is where the cold and unstable air is going to be. This is where the thunderstorms will be on Thursday. But you see what's happening? This low pressure system is actually what we call retrograding back to the south and west. But we're still seeing that moisture kind of stream northward. And we're still going to be looking at more clouds even for tomorrow. So chances for thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening for the coast. And then for the rest of Northern California on Thursday, chances for thunderstorms through the afternoon, although slimmer chances off to the east, mainly just in the form of some showers. Although I do think even Modoc County could see some thunderstorms here for your Thursday afternoon. All right, let's take a look at Futurecast. Let's walk you through the timing of all of this. So you can see the clouds today, partly to mostly cloudy skies. Again, you're already noticing the clouds this morning. They're going to stick around today, but no rain embedded within those clouds. Tomorrow morning, you're going to start off with some clouds. Now, we're beginning to see some of the instability begin to move in, but the main storm system, even Wednesday midday, main storm system here is off to our west. Now, sometimes we have what we call prefrontal showers. In advance of it, there may be just enough instability for a few showers to try to develop here late in the afternoon for parts of the valley, and really anyone, especially valley westward. But you'll see again, this right here, this is the main batch of moisture that's going to be moving on in as we go into the overnight hours, Wednesday night into Thursday morning. This is midnight Thursday morning. So you can see that main batch of moisture right over us, although we're still seeing drier conditions for Modoc, Lassen, and Plumas counties. That will eventually change into the early morning hours on Thursday with that heavier rainfall. Now, this is where the main band of rain is, okay? Excuse me. Notice not a lot of snow there, right? Because the colder air is not in just yet. This right here is where the colder and unstable air is. This is where we're going to see snow levels drop a bit. This is also where we're going to see thunderstorms developing. All right, so let's take you into your midday on Thursday. See how we're starting to see that colder air move in. So we've got potential for snow down to about 5,000 feet for the southern Cascades and northern Sierra. Could be locally lower, maybe even as low as 4,500 feet in some spots here. Chance for thunderstorms really across the board, including the valley through midday on Thursday, even off to the west. Chances for thunderstorms look like they're diminishing for Thursday afternoon for the valley, but I don't want to rule out a straight thunderstorm here. But still some activity here to the north and to the west. But notice we're not looking at widespread rainfall across the region. It's just going to be those scattered showers, possible thunderstorms, and some of those thunderstorms could produce some heavy rainfall. Now, I think this model might be a little aggressive on Friday's system. It's going to bring some rain to the coast, I would say Friday. But as it moves eastward, it's going to really kind of die down before hitting the valley. Now, that being said, the valley may see a stray sprinkle or a light shower through the afternoon on Friday, but you can see it pretty quickly dissipates by the time it does make its way eastward. So we're going to be going into more of a drier trend, at least for the first half of the weekend. All right, rainfall totals. For the most part, I'm pretty happy with what I'm seeing here. At least I agree with it, okay? I would say, number one, we're going to see more than that for Redding, probably at least an inch. I think on average, an inch in the valley. And this is what I've been saying over the last few days. We could, in some spots, see an inch to an inch and a half in the valley. Now, this might be overdoing it here for Lakehead, but some of the foothills, higher elevations, say, 1 to 2 inches, okay? Now, after the coast, I'd say 1.5 to maybe 3 inches of rain is a very good possibility. And as we typically see, less rainfall off to the east, especially in Modoc County and into eastern Lassen County. Now, with that said, we're talking about snow as well. National Weather Service has issued a winter storm watch for the areas in the eastern mountains for the most part. Now, this is mainly for elevations above 5,000 feet. And above 5,000 feet, we could see anywhere from 4 to 8 inches of fresh snow. 1 to 2 feet is possible for some of the higher, above the mountain passes. All right, so some of the mountain passes could see upwards of 4 to 8 inches of snow, again, mainly above 5,000 feet. So 6,000 feet, 7,000 feet, if that's where your elevation is for your mountain pass, yeah. Okay, but you start getting into 7, 8, 9,000 feet, yeah, 1 to 2 feet is possible of new snow. Gusty south winds on top of that. That's really not going to really help matters, is it? So the forecast models yesterday, there go the lights again. They're already turning off. The forecast models have kind of backed down a little bit on where we're seeing the snow, but it was showing yesterday Shingletown, it was showing it out towards Etna. Now, you think about Alturas, that's about 4,000 feet, 4,500 feet Chester, right? So, kind of give you an idea, I think we could see a trace, possibly, of snow in places like Alturas and Chester as you go down to about 4,500 feet or so. But where you start seeing more of this significant accumulation is going to be above 5,000 feet. So, with that said, Thursday into Thursday night and Friday, Scott Mountain Pass, sure, I think there'll be some snow out there. Be aware of that. Highway 36 may be a little iffy. Eastern Mountains, I think there's a possibility, again, for some of the higher mountain passes above 5,000 feet. Cedar Pass, yeah, I think Cedar Pass might see some snow. And then Highway 97, Highway 139, some of the higher mountain passes there could see the potential for some snow. All right, so just be aware of the fact that you may be dealing with some chain requirements on Thursday and into Thursday night. Let's take it out of the Sierra. Maybe you're heading into the Sierra. 1 to 2 feet of snow is what we're talking about for some of the mountaintops of the Sierra. But again, kind of the same concept, 4 to 8 inches as you go above 5,000, 6,000 feet. So the mountain passes there. I-80, Highway 50, 88, 4, 108, 120. As you start getting into those mountains, right, you're seeing the potential to see some chain requirements. So if you're heading out to South Lake Tahoe or Tahoe in general, do note that if it's Thursday or Thursday night, you may be dealing with some chain requirements. There's a very good possibility of that. But the thing is, once the storm system passes Wednesday into Thursday, we're going to be in more of a classic cool and unsettled weather pattern. Now, it depends on which model you look at. I'm not quite sure I agree with this one, but here you can see this line right here. You see how by the time it gets here on Monday, it kind of breaks off and creates its own area of low pressure down to the south. We may see a stray shower late in the day Sunday into early Monday, especially for the North Coast. But elsewhere, probably not much. take a look at the winds. And we do have a high wind watch for central Siskiyou County and Modoc counties. And we are going to be looking at those winds out of the south at 30 to 40 miles per hour. Gusts out of the south at about 50 to 60 miles per hour. All right, just checking to see if the comments, see if you guys can hear me. You should be able to hear me. There we go. Yeah. So there you go. See, we have those high wind watch. So let's take a look at the winds. Today, all right, not an issue at all, really. A little breezy in some spots in the higher elevations, but that's pretty normal. The winds start to pick up by Wednesday midday, and they're the strongest as we go into midnight for many areas, especially valley to the west. Now, when we look at these numbers, they don't look to be quite as bad as they were yesterday. So the forecast model is backing down a little bit on the intensity of the wind, which, brings me back to, I was mentioning that I think this storm system is going to be a notch down from what we did see last week. Winds not quite as strong, maybe not as much rainfall, which means less power outages. But I still think there could be the potential for power outages, especially for the North Coast and some of those higher elevations where we're seeing some of the strongest winds. Mudslides, debris flows, probably not as many as we saw last week. Still a possibility. Be aware of that, especially to the west of the valley. Highway 299, for example, up and down Del Norte, Humboldt counties as well. The potential for mudslides, debris flows, just be aware of that, okay? That is going to be Wednesday night, Thursday morning, and then the chances diminish after that. But there you can see the winds are going to be fairly strong through Thursday morning early, and then they fairly strong to the east, and then they die down for Thursday afternoon. Still a little breezy for Thursday afternoon, but then by Friday, maybe a little bit of a strong wind coming in here along the coast with that next approaching system, but overall, not much going on there. All right, below normal temperatures, that's what the Climate Prediction Center is putting us in. Look at the temperatures. So once the temperatures drop below 70, we keep it that way. The normal high for Redding is about 67. For the most part, we will be below that starting Wednesday all the way through the latter part, if not all of next week. So these cooler temperatures are going to stick around for a while. We're getting into that sweater weather, folks. You're going to need those sweaters after a while. The wave height's not so bad today, but by tomorrow, yeah, they're picking up. That is the reason why there is a gale watch for Wednesday. All right, so if you need to be on a small boat, just take note of that. North winds today, though, out of the north at about 5 to 10 knots. All right, here is your neighborhood forecast, sponsored in part by Dignity Health. All right, let's take a look at those temperatures for today. Trinity County, temperatures upper 60s to low 70s. Here it is across the board. Wednesday night, early Thursday morning. That's when we're going to see the most rain. That's when we're going to see the strongest winds across the board, okay? Then after that, this turns into cool and unsettled. That's essentially what we've got here. But today, you see temperatures mid to upper 60s. Your Dignity Health North Coast neighborhood forecast, temperatures around 70 for Miranda, down southward into Garberville, 59 degrees for Ferndale, 63 degrees for Hydesville, and 65 in Rio Dell. Take you up north, 65 degrees out in Trinidad, 73 degrees for Willow Creek, 61 in Arcadia, 62 for Eureka. Take you up north, 64 in Smith River, 66 for Gas Key, and Oric, about 59 degrees. Here's your Dignity Health Siskiyou County neighborhood forecast. Temperatures upper 60s for Highway 96, the I-5 corridor. Temperatures generally in the low to mid 60s. Scott Valley, you're seeing that morning fog that'll burn off here, though, later on this morning. Temperatures in the mid 60s for your daytime highs. And for central eastern Siskiyou County, low to mid 60s for your highs. All right, let's take a look at Modoc County. You've got temperatures in the mid to upper 60s for those highs today. Take you southward in the eastern mountains, 60s as well. It's going to be a little bit cooler in many spots because of the added cloud cover. 52 degrees for Summit Lake, 64 degrees out in Chester. And Lake Elmonor Peninsula, about 61 degrees. Take you down to the South Paradise, 70 degrees. Look for a high of 63 degrees for Mineral, 66 degrees in Susanville. Doyle, about 66, and Portola, about 63 degrees. All right, here's your Dignity Health Valley neighborhood forecast to the south. Low to maybe some mid-70s. Just depends on how much cloud cover we end up seeing. You've got chances for thunderstorms tomorrow, for Thursday afternoon, that is. And then cool and unsettled. So we got a chance on Friday, then maybe another chance on Sunday. But really, once we get past Wednesday night, early Thursday morning, we're just not going to see much in the way of a lot of rainfall after that. take you up to the north. 73 degrees for the city of Shasta Lake, all the way down to Cottonwood. 73 for Palo Cedro and 71 for Lakehead. All right, here's your 7-day forecast for Redding. And there it is. Temperature's actually kind of going up and down a little bit here, but generally after Saturday, we're going to be back down to around 60, give or take, for that daytime high. There it is. Oof. Okay, so let's check in with you. Lights may turn off, so I may have to interrupt what's going on here, but looks like the lights are still on, or staying on. We got a few people checking in here this morning. We've got Esther saying very foggy in Eureka. Okay, that's the confirmation I need. I don't have any cameras. I suppose I could maybe look at some of the Caltrans cameras, but thank you, Esther, for the report there. Tim Moore saying 25 degrees in Lookout. Still very chilly out there this morning. Well, interesting. Okay, thank you, Dawn, saying the Crescent City is fogged in currently. Let me take a look at, let me see if I can find, maybe I just wasn't getting an updated version of it. Is the internet down? Okay, it looks like we are seeing, you know what, maybe it's not on the coast itself. Maybe it's more inland. But just kind of show you what I'm looking at here. See, I'm not seeing right now, at least out at the Harbor District, a lot of fog there. But it may be just a different story as you maybe pan the camera off to the right. I don't know. But thank you for everyone for sending in those reports. Very interesting to kind of see that. All right, let's get out of there. There we go. So yeah, it's foggy and cold and Lookout. We got Curtis Brown saying good morning this morning, and there you go. Thanks, Mike, from Redding. Clouds in the sky. Yeah, it is. We do have the clouds. There's an area of low pressure to our southwest that's really pumping in those clouds. Those clouds will be pumping in all day long, so we're not going to see a ton of clearing. I mean, we're going to see some blue skies. There's no doubt about that, but we'll call it partly to mostly cloudy skies here for pretty much everyone today. So there you go. That is going to do it for us this morning, folks. It's been an interesting day, interesting morning. Internet went down for a short while. That made it difficult for me to get the forecast out. Then, of course, I was having issues with my software to get this stream out as well, creating issues there as well. And it took me about 20 minutes just to get everything back in order and online. So there you go. Not seeing those comments. Let me see here. Not seeing the comments as far as, well, it looks like they're there. Okay. All right. I'm not sure what that means, but okay. Anyway, so yeah, it's just been a very interesting morning. Hopefully everything is A-okay. Looks like the lights just turned off. I gotta turn it back on. So what's interesting is the internet for Weather NorCal is up. It's a business account, so I think they prioritize business accounts. But my home internet is down. Now I have a smart home. All the light switches are on a smart device. Not so smart right now because it's not connected to the internet. So the lights are turning off after about 5-10 minutes or so. I just had to turn them back. I had to turn them on 3 times during the show. So there you go. All right. Well, because of all this craziness, I just want to get out of here. I really do, and just kind of start wrapping up the day and getting on with it. Hopefully things go much more smoothly for tomorrow. Fingers crossed. And we'll be able to get those updates for you on time throughout the day today and tomorrow as well. Well, that's going to do it for us this morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's take a look at some of the cameras in the area. Of course, another quick look at that 7-day forecast for Redding and Soda Ridge, along with some other cameras after that. Have a great morning, everyone. And like I said, I hope everything is A-okay for your day. Hasn't been so great for me so far starting out, but things are better now that I'm with you all. Have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow.